When a serious and inspired musician devotes his or her energies to the banjo, the instrument cannot help but be elevated in stature and perception. Although firmly rooted in the bluegrass and folk music traditions that seem to permeate the soil of his adopted home state of North Carolina, Jens Kruger's ability to infuse folk music styles into a classical music framework has resulted in a musician with a delightfully fresh and honest sound, as well as a body of written, performed, and recorded work that enhances the very core of American acoustic music traditions. Born in Germany, Jens and his brother Uwe grew up in Switzerland in a home filled with music. While their parents played accordion, guitar, and harmonica and had a song for every occasion, the boys were intently learning instrumental basics as well as how to sing in harmony. By the age of 7, Jens had become enamored with the banjo, its free and joyful sound making him envision the places he wanted to be. After practicing picking and fingering patterns on a mock instrument prior to actually owning the real thing, once immersed in the banjo, Jens Kruger lost interest in anything else. Sadly, those happy years spent as an idyllic musical family were not to last. After their mother passed away and their father's second marriage began to crumble, Jens and Uwe, while still in their teens, left home in 1979, never to return. Completely detached from home, school, and society, the brothers focused on honing their musical skills as they performed on the streets throughout Eastern and Western Europe. The CBS record contract and hosting duties of a Swiss public radio show that followed were the precursor to a brief separation which saw Uwe concentrating on country music in Switzerland while Jens journeyed to the United States, where he, as a guest of Bill Monroe's Bluegrass Boys, became the very first European ever to perform on the Grand Ole Opry. Reunited in Switzerland, the influences of American bluegrass icons such as Bill Monroe, Doc Watson, and Flatt and Scruggs were evident as Jens and Uwe performed as the Appalachian Barn Orchestra. Later, partnering with a bassist from New York named Joel Landsberg, the circle became complete and the trio the world knows as the Kruger Brothers was born in 1995. Taking Bill Monroe's advice, don't only play bluegrass to heart, Jens began composing original music reflective of his country, culture, and inner soul. While European audiences often dismissed the new material, a 1997 trip to Merlefest in North Carolina became a turning point, which saw American audiences embrace both Jens's compositions as well as the new and genuine sound of the Kruger brothers. Comparing the warmth and acceptance shown them in America to the feeling they knew as children playing music at home with their parents, in 2002, Jens, Uwe, and Joel moved to Wilkesboro, North Carolina to be closer to the soul, spirit, and creators of the music they loved. In this fertile creative environment, the trio practiced constantly, never fighting the rural stereotypes associated with the banjo and folk music, preferring instead to add to those existing perceptions through their original music infused with earthiness, simplicity, and honesty. After a lifetime of serious study of composition, harmony, and counterpoint, beginning in 2006, Jens was frequently commissioned to write classical music pieces which the Kruger brothers have performed with various orchestral ensembles around the world. Among them, music from the Spring, the Appalachian Concerto, the Spirit of the Rockies, and Lucid Dreamer have fulfilled Jens's desire to break down barriers between folk and classical music, presenting the banjo in a new and exciting manner, while simultaneously winning praise from prestigious organizations such as the National Endowment for the Arts and Chamber Music America. Recognized by the U.S. Department of State's Extraordinary Ability Program, Jens is proud to call America home. Although honored for a 40-plus year career exclusively devoted to music, with every accolade and award his profession can bestow, including the 2013 Steve Martin Prize for Excellence in Banjo and Bluegrass and induction into the Blue Ridge Music and Wilkes County Halls of Fame, Kruger considers one of his proudest moments to be June 6, 2006, when the flag over the U.S. Capitol was flown in his name to honor his cultural contributions to America. through amazing musicianship and original music, which by design is more emotional than virtuosic. Jens Krueger, touching his listeners with equal parts of joy and longing, has literally redefined the banjo's role in bluegrass, folk, and acoustic music.
As the Kruger brothers make their way to the stage, Jens, the second biggest fan you have after me, couldn't be here tonight, but wanted to send a little message. So you'll have to watch the screen for that.
Hi, Jens. Steve Martin here. I am so honored to be able to even say your name, Jens Krueger. You are one of the great banjo players. You have contributed so much to the music, to the emotion, to the technique and skill of the banjo, not only to mention your beautiful songs you've written. You have such a great body of work. So congratulations. And I was honored to play with you on the David Letterman show, to play Jack of the Woods, that I struggled to learn. I had to consult Bela Fleck to teach me how to play it. And even he had trouble. Anyway, congratulations, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention your great band, Uwe and Joel, you just have the most beautiful sound in the world, so congratulations. Bye.
Pure joy. Pure joy in the banjo. Jens Krueger, welcome to the American Banjo Museum Hall of Fame.
Now I was supposed to say something. You can hear my accent. I'm not really local. Growing up in Switzerland, playing banjo, I had no teachers, nothing, and just sitting in the basement, playing banjo. And my mom, she would come down, with a glass of milk and a cookie. And I was sitting there at the record players, and I had a little book that I made. Because I thought these were all secret chords. I told you that before. And, I thought there's so many chords, these great banjo players played it. There must be secret chords, and all these chords have a certain emotion. And so I wrote down, this chord sounds like my cat or my dog, or this sounds like the garbage that's still outside, or, this sounds like a cookie, or this. So I made a book, and we remembered it. I wrote, I didn't know the name, didn't know what all these chord names were. So I invented, emotions that I had with them, pictures that I had. And I thought the composers, they take these emotions and these little drawings and then they make compositions out of that. Later I learned, of course, that's not true. You study music and you do all that, which I did. And then later I learned I was right, it's what we do. We don't understand it. We love it, and it takes us a place we don't understand. That's why we want to go and get closer. Every time we pick up the instrument, we try to enter that world again and try to remember how it felt, and we want to expand the world. We want to walk into this forest and open fields and meet all these people that we know through this banjo music and the dream that we have. I think that drives us as musicians more than anything. It's not... I was always stage fright. I always was nervous, and today I'm particularly nervous, because I had to think of all the things and I couldn't concentrate on the notes. So I always was stage fright. I never was that secure. But my brother helped me. My brother has been with me all my life. I think I have to thank him the most of everybody. I have two daughters, and sometimes I'm around the world. I've been on the road sometimes 200 days a year, and you know how that is. And sometimes my daughter would call me up in the middle of the night somewhere in the hotel and say, I can't sleep. Can you play something for me? But I was just the other day thinking, I'm kind of proud in a way that I think I was able to support my family playing the banjo, which everybody told me you'd never be able to do that. People would come up to me and say, yeah, you're kind of talented, but why do you play the banjo? I said, it's none of your business. This is my world. Kids in my school, they would go to school and they play the violin and they play, our folk music, Mozart. And so they come, they play and do their thing. And I didn't like the school because I was daydreaming. I was thinking of becoming a banjo player and joining you guys. And so I was preoccupied, and then having the banjo, because I was the only one that I knew that played banjo, I was good at it, and nobody could take that away from me. Do you see? And I had nobody that a teacher that would destroy me and tell me you got to learn this or this. I was completely free. So the banjo gave me this freedom everybody was talking about later, right? It gave me this space where I could be a kid and could be myself. And just become what I wanted to become. And America also gave me the opportunity to compose, to develop my music and be accepted, being different. In Europe I had to play, and Rocky Top, and people, would want all this, but I came to America, I could play my own music, and people would ask, what is that? Right, what is that? We want to hear more of that. And it was a shock for me, because I had written all this music, and there was no use for it in Europe. And all of a sudden, here, I could play it for people. And so when you talk about the dream and the American dream and the banjo, well, for me, that's true. And I have to thank a lot of people, especially also Joel Landsberg, who's been traveling the world with me for the last 30 years. And I can put any kind of sheet music in front of him, and he never questions me. Never once in all the 30 years he said, I don't like this, or he says always, I'm going to learn it. Same with Uwe. Never question what I do. It's just dangerous. But I also want to thank especially Jan and Greg Deering, because they helped me to come to America. I want to thank the Banjo Museum. I want to thank everybody that is involved in this great organization. And it's a dream for me to be part of this society. Never thought it would ever be, never expected it, and never thought I'd have a place here. I doubt myself the most, I guess, every day. And I just love you all. I love Johnny Beyer. I love you all. And I just want to thank you. And yes, I will forever will be grateful for this honor. Thank you.